Hello, everyone. I'm doing my doot 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 song. I like to warm up my voice a little bit because I got to talk for a whole hour, during this English lesson. So, hello and welcome. Let me just make sure everything is working properly. I think it is, and we'll get the lesson started in just a moment. In the wild this time around. Okay, here we go. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson, which I've titled In the Wild, Spring Edition. The idea for this lesson came about when I was walking around outside and I was seeing and hearing things. So it's not necessarily a lesson about spring, but it's certainly a lesson about all of the things that you see in my part of the world when it is the season of spring. It's very beautiful outside. I probably should be doing this lesson outside and walking around with you, but that would be impractical. So we'll just do it inside, and I'll teach you a lot of words and phrases that we use in my part of North America in the spring. Well, hey, welcome to this lesson, everybody. Let me just do a few clicky things here to make sure all my stuff is working. Hello to Uliana, Shinex, Zaki, Sai Sandy. Oh, hi, Sai Sandy. Good to see you. Unabi, Aerosmith, Freddie Wolf, Wanda Prado. Let me scroll back. Aerosmith, Diep, Vitor. Oh, hi, Vitor as well. Kagata, Helena, Unabi, Uliana, Unsel. A lot of U's in a row. Wanda Prado is here as well. Freddie Wolf. I think I'm saying names twice now. I think you understand. Welcome. It's good to see all of you. I know I can't actually see you, but it's just a phrase we use. And hi to Bob John Shack. Sometimes it's hard for me to pronounce the names. Again, welcome to this lesson. If you have questions about the lesson, let's try to stay on topic this time. Last week we had a lot of other questions, which is fine. But please use the link in the description below, or that Nightbot shares occasionally in the chat. And I think I've pinned the link there as well. Hello to Vivian. Hello to Rawati. Hello to Taras Burgett. Shirley, Mode Ags is here. Hello, I'm right on time, says Mode. Good to see you. Should we get started? Maybe. Did I say everything I normally say? You should use the chat for good English conversations with each other. You can even make fun of me as I'm teaching. You can be like the students at the back of a classroom and just make jokes. Let me do one more audio check and we will get started. There we go. I was going to say one more thing. Oh, I don't think this will be a super long lesson this morning. Maybe about 45 minutes. We might get close to an hour if there are lots of questions, but let's get started. In the wild, animals or plants seen in their natural habitat. So I wanted to take a minute to explain why I have given this lesson the title In the Wild. It's because sometimes you see things, and maybe if you see an animal at a zoo, that's not the same as seeing it in its natural habitat. That's not the same as seeing it in the wild. So when I was walking outside on my property the other day, I was noticing a lot of things out in the wild. It doesn't mean I live in the jungle or the forest. It just means outside. It's kind of a fun phrase to say that. But I do want to explain that we use it in a funny way as well. We use it when we are seeing a person outside of their normal environment. And it's a very informal phrase. So here's Matt Damon. Someone must have seen him out in the wild and took a picture of him. Students sometimes will use this phrase. If a student sees me at the grocery store, if a student sees me at the shopping mall, they might say to a friend later, oh, I saw Bob the Canadian in the wild. I saw him at the shopping mall. He's a real person. So anyways, there is a funny version of the phrase, but let's get to the core of this lesson. Here we go. Weeds. Jen and I are always shocked at how quickly weeds start to grow in the spring. So a weed is a plant that you don't want. When you have a garden, you plant the plants you want, you put seeds in the ground, and then other plants just randomly grow. And they're weeds. We don't want them. They are things that we pull out. I imagine every part of the world has slightly different kinds of weeds, But yes, number one, weeds. And I do want to mention that almost all of the words this morning are plural and end in S because that's how we talk about things in general. I saw a lot of weeds outside. I saw some snails. There were puddles. There were squirrels and wheelbarrows and rakes. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you'll notice the singular is, of course, weed. There was a weed, but I'm going to be using the plural for everything because it's how we naturally talk about stuff. Worms. So I went for a walk the other day and it was raining a little bit. And when it rains, the worms come out of the ground. And I noticed along the side of the road, there were a lot of worms. I am not someone who goes fishing, but if I was someone who went fishing, that would have been a good time to collect worms. Now, of course, worms are these wriggly, kind of slimy. Like if you touch them, they're slimy. It's not nice to touch a worm. And they wriggle through the ground. And I think they eat organic matter and they make the soil better. So worms, we also sometimes call them earthworms. Buds. So the trees have buds. Some of the trees have blossoms. So buds are kind of this little tiny green part of the tree before it opens and becomes a leaf or a blossom. So when you walk around right now, there's no shade under the trees. The sun can shine right through because there are only buds so far. There are no leaves yet on the trees. Blossoms. So I'm not sure what part of the world you live in, but there are some places where there are cherry blossoms or apricot trees that have blossoms. Blossoms are tiny, tiny flowers, usually found on a tree or bush, although we use it in other ways as well. But generally, if you were to say, oh, you should go to Washington, D.C., the cherry trees are blossoming. There are a lot of blossoms on the trees. And the cool thing with blossoms is it usually smells really good too when you see a lot of blossoms. It's a fun word to say, by the way, blossoms. Long grass. So I searched and searched for a guy mowing his lawn where he let the lawn go for too long. I would say that's the phrase we would use. He should have mowed this long grass a couple of weeks ago or more. Now he's out there with his push mower. I hope it's going well. But when we see a lawn and we think, oh, it needs to be mowed, we often say that there's long grass. We sometimes say tall grass. You might think that would be more common, but often we will say things like, oh, your grass is getting long. While there's a lot of long grass in the backyard, it needs to be mowed. So one of the things you will see out in the wild at this time of year is long grass. And then, of course, lawn mowers. Let's zoom in on this one. Another picture of someone mowing down some long grass with a lawn mower. Those words are very similar, aren't they? Long grass, lawn mower. So hopefully you can hear the difference there. Again, we call this a push mower. I think in my professional opinion, that's the wrong mower for the job. There are a lot of things I'm not good at. I have a lot of experience cutting lawn, and if I was to cut this lawn, I would be trying to find a much bigger lawnmower. But there are, yes, lots of lawnmowers out there at this time of year. And then puddles. Now, I noticed the other day, I was walking outside and there were puddles, and I was wearing a pair of Crocs, which normally, if the water's only this deep, Crocs are fairly waterproof, but I think my Crocs have a hole in the bottom. If you don't know what Crocs are, you'll have to search that up online. It's kind of a plastic pair of shoes that you can put on quickly. I wouldn't actually call them shoes, like footwear. We'll call them footwear. And I stepped in a really shallow puddle. So you can have a deep puddle or a shallow puddle. And my foot got wet. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting that to happen. But yes, definitely outside right now, there are a lot of puddles. Snails. So I don't really like snails. Snails are these little, oh, let me go back here for a sec. Puddles are just little indentations in the ground or lawn that fill with water when it rains. I should actually define the word that I'm teaching, shouldn't I? I know it's pretty easy in this lesson because there's always a picture, but I should for sure explain that. Snails. So snails crawl along the ground. Snails have a little shell on their back. And the same day I was walking and saw worms, there were also a lot of snails along the side of the road. I don't know why the worms and snails are close to the road. That seems dangerous to me. Probably poor parenting at some point in their lives. Sorry, that was a joke. But snails, they're also slimy on the bottom. They crawl very, very slowly. And there's just lots of them right now. It's pretty cool. Hey, let's look at some questions. Let me do an audio check for a sec. Okay. Oh, there are questions. Okay, here we go. Judith. Hi, Bob. When have you been in the wild alone without proper accessories? How long have you been and where? Thank you. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I went camping up north in Ontario, Canada at a park called Algonquin Park. And we were out hiking and we saw a black bear, which I don't think are very dangerous, but I'm not sure. And we didn't have anything to protect ourselves. So we just stood still until the bear ran away. There are no bears in my area, but that would have been a time where I was in the wild and I was unprepared. From Judith, hi Bob, what do you know experience about living in the wild? What gave you the idea of the topic? Thank you. So the idea came from the fact that I'm just outside more now and I'm noticing all of these things. For most of the winter, I sat inside. Now I'm outside a little bit. So that's where the idea came from. Good morning to Vitor and Know That. Good to see you guys there in the chat. Luis Carlos is here. John Wedge, just scrolling back. Jamin, seeing a few new names there. Very cool. Good to see all of you. Let me get the next question on the screen. Just going to skip the next one because it's not on topic. So here we go. From Miller Teacher, could you tell me what time it is in Canada right now? It is 8:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess technically it's Eastern Daylight Savings Time. That is what time it is here, 8:41. I usually start answering questions at 8:40. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. There's a button somewhere. And the lesson isn't over. This is just the question part. And then I get back to the lesson in a minute. From Assad, what is a wild personality? Sometimes teenagers or people in their early 20s, they do a lot of things that adults don't do. Maybe they go out a lot. Maybe they stay up late. I'm sure I could describe a lot of other things to you, but that would be something that people with a wild personality do. They stay out till 4 a.m. and those kinds of things. From Takagero, hello, dear teacher Bob. Are there many black squirrels on your property? What do they eat in winter? Occasionally I will see a black squirrel, but most of the squirrels I see are brown or gray. What do they eat in the winter? I'm pretty sure they still collect nuts. We have acorns. We have walnut trees. We have hickory trees around here. There are a number of different kinds of nuts, and I'm pretty sure that's what they would be collecting and eating in the winter. From Hasham, have you ever seen snow leopards? I've never been in the wild in a place in the world where snow leopards live. So no, no, I have not seen them. No, that says, hello, Bob. It's good to see you as well. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Lee from Korea. Hello, Lee. And Mode says, I've never tried them, so I can't say for sure, but I wanted to practice agreeing with a negative sentence in French. Si. It's the only time you get to sound Spanish when you speak French. Know that. Hello, Bob. Is there any animal you would really like to see in its natural habitat someday? Thanks a lot, Bob. So I think I would like to see all of the larger animals in the wild. I have seen elephants. I've seen lions. I've seen hippos, hippopotami. I don't know what the plural is. I've seen most of those, but I've never seen a polar bear. So that would be really cool because I think you go in a special bus that's really up high and can drive on the snow. So that's what I'm going to say for that one. H. Ash says, is there a zoo in your area? There are a couple. The Toronto Zoo is pretty cool. That's the one I have been to before. Let's see. No, that's a great choice of topic, Bob, especially after the recent Earth Day. Yes, that wasn't the main reason, but Earth Day certainly made me get outside a little bit. Unabi. Hi, Mr. Bob. Sorry for a bit off topic question, but could you explain the phrase to gone wild? To go wild? Gone wild? It doesn't have anything in common with wild nature, does it? Thank you. I'm not sure about that phrase. Like, you could say something like, the chickens were in the barn all year and now they're outside and they've gone wild. So they're starting to behave more like how they used to behave 50 years ago when chickens lived outside. I'm not sure. But yes, that's how I would use it. From Gaeta Helena. I decided to use one name in the chat and here. Good plan. Question. In the park I walk with my kids live squirrels. Can I use the phrase in the wild for them? Yes. You don't often see squirrels at the zoo, but you do see them in the wild all the time. So when you go for a walk, you could say, oh, I saw a lot of squirrels in the wild. You might probably just say at the park. That would sound a little more normal to me, but you could say in the wild. Yes, for sure. Know that just out of curiosity, Bob, if you could choose between being a zoologist and a botanist, what would you go with? Thanks, sir. So in the movie The Martian and in the book, he's a botanist. And so he knows how to grow stuff. I like animals, but I'm not very good at taking care of animals. I'm better at taking care of plants. So I think I would choose botany. I would be a botanist. Let's see here. From Kuso, if someone says there are many bugs or buds in the tree, how can I recognize what he says? I'm a bit confused about the sound. So of course, buds are the little tiny flowers. Let me just pull them up for a sec. Buds, there we go. And then bugs, we're not at bugs yet. Bugs, of course, are different kinds of insects. So when you speak quickly, there are buds, there are bugs. It sounds very similar, doesn't it? So you just have to listen for the buds, the hard D, buds. I guess we do it a bit, don't we? Buds. Buds, yeah. Bugs, bzz, and then buds on the tree. Yeah, it's tricky. You just have to listen to context as well. From Unso, hi, Mr. Bob. Spring is finally here. It is. What's that one sign of spring that makes you stop whatever you're doing, smile, and feel genuinely excited? Thanks, you're awesome. I love the smell of fresh cut grass. I like hearing birds chirping in the trees, especially if I'm making a video, as long as they're not too loud, like that one bird in the one members only video last year. So, from Sergey, do you use snails as bait to catch fish? You probably could, but I don't go fishing. So I don't know. Hard to answer that question. From Know That Bob, do you know if there are any endangered species, animals or plants living in your region? Thanks a lot, Bob. I think the bald eagle was starting to be an endangered species. I think it's come back. We do have two that live somewhere around the farm. I have seen them quite a bit. So that is one that when we see it, we try to take a picture with our phone, but then it's so far away that it's only this big in the photo. So it's kind of hard to show other people. Let's see. From Unsol, how does the Canadian school curriculum help kids learn about nature? Do they have things like hands-on farming classes or farm visits? Thanks. You're awesome. Bye. Yes. So when you're in elementary school, you will probably visit a farm once or twice. When you're in elementary school, like age 6 to 12 or 13, you will probably go to a park. You'll probably go on several hikes at a nature preserve. You'll definitely see a lot of nature, but you also study science. And in high school, you study biology. So you will have some actual learning. Like our students in biology planted trees, and then they study how much the tree grows in 4 years. Judith says, hi, Bob, what kind of difference may exist in a zebra living in the zoo and wild zebra living in the wild? And the same comparison about another animal. Thank you. So the biggest difference between an animal in a zoo or in the wild, an animal in a zoo has food brought to them, and they usually get used to that, at least some animals, where they know that the zookeeper is bringing food at 4 o'clock, and so they get excited. Whereas if you are an animal living in the wild, you have to find your own food. I'm sure that can be tricky. Okay. I think we're going to go back to the lesson a minute early. That means I should have a sip of water. Remember, if you're one of the 173 people watching and you're not a subscriber, you should subscribe. I guarantee you will enjoy it. Let's see here. Back to the lesson. Twigs and branches. So trees are beautiful, but when it's windy and when you have a long winter and there's a lot of windstorms and snow sometimes puts weight on the trees, twigs and branches sometimes fall off. The difference between a twig and a branch is simply size. They're all just parts of a tree. But when I was outside the other day, I noticed that there were some branches, some pretty big branches laying on the ground, and there were some twigs. So I need to clean those up before I mow my lawn. So there are definitely twigs and branches outside. Rubber boots. As I mentioned, I went outside wearing my Crocs. I should have worn my rubber boots, but I know my rubber boots have a hole in them, several, and I need a new pair of rubber boots. So this is something, though, you will definitely see out in the wild right now. A lot of people will wear rubber boots. Jen has been wearing her rubber boots for 2 or 3 weeks as she begins working outside. So that's very, very cool. Okay, I just want to pause the lesson and say thanks to Unsel, who sent 20 memberships. So thank you, Unsel. I don't know, can I read all the names? Haru, Indra, Aisen, Tlato, Chuang, Dam, Shani, Daniel, Kenny, Kensi. I can't read all the names, but welcome to all of you. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Unsel. And if you are one of the people that just received a free membership for a month, go to the posts section of this YouTube channel and you will see all the members only posts. So thanks again, Unsel. Very cool. Wheelbarrows. So this is one of the coolest inventions ever. A wheelbarrow is a little hand cart, I guess, with one wheel on the front and 2 handles on the back. And you can fill it with all kinds of things. And then you lift the handles and you can move stuff around. You can drive the wheelbarrow. I think because there's a wheel, it actually acts as a lever, if you know how levers work. So it actually makes it easier to lift all of the stuff that's in there. But you will definitely see wheelbarrows at this time of year. Almost everywhere I walked the other day, I went through several neighborhoods. I probably saw 5 or 6 wheelbarrows. So people are cleaning up twigs and branches. People are just outside, maybe moving some soil to a new area. People are going to start planting stuff soon. So definitely there are a lot of wheelbarrows out there. Rakes. So another thing you can use in the fall is a rake to clean up leaves, but you don't always get it all done. So sometimes you need a rake in the spring because there's just lots of stuff like leaves that have kind of rotted over the spring. A rake actually works really well to rake up twigs. Don't try to rake up branches. It doesn't work. That's a little bit too hard for a rake. But yes, a rake is a garden tool that you can use to kind of gather things into a pile on the ground. Very helpful for cleaning up your yard in the spring. Melting snow. So this might not be something that you see at this time of year, but we often see melting snow at this time of year. In fact, the other day I went to the grocery store, and when I went to the grocery store, it was snowing in April. This was this past weekend. And when I came out, my vehicle had some snow on it, and there was a little bit of snow on the ground, but the sun came out and it immediately started melting. So you can see here, I like this picture shows it nicely. You have snow, but you have green grass. So this is definitely, in my mind, a picture from spring or fall, most likely spring, where the grass is starting to grow, but you still have a little bit of snow melting. We don't have any snow outside at all anymore. But like I said, it does snow occasionally, and then we do get a little bit of snow on the ground. Mud. So this person was very wise and wore their rubber boots. Mud is simply dirt that has a lot of water in it, and it often gets very sticky. And when you step in it, you can sink. So when you step in mud, your foot goes into the mud. You sink in the mud. This person is not sinking too far, but if you look at how high the mud is on their boot, I'm sure they probably sunk in the mud earlier before this picture was taken. But mud, very, very wet soil that you find when you are outside at this time of year. Tire tracks or ruts. I think I mentioned this once in another lesson. One of the things that really bothers me is that at this time of year, you will see where everyone has driven on the lawn. So when you drive on the lawn, you leave tire tracks, which you see here in the lawn, or what we call ruts. They're the same thing. He drove on the lawn and now there's tire tracks. Or he drove on the lawn and now there's ruts in the lawn. Very, very annoying. He drove on the lawn. Now there's tire tracks on the lawn, tire tracks in the lawn. You can say both, on or in. There's ruts on the lawn. There's ruts in the lawn. I'd probably use in. There's ruts in the lawn, but you could probably use both. So tire tracks or ruts, one of the things that makes Bob the Canadian very, very annoyed. And I'm not going to blame delivery drivers because I appreciate them the most. And I know it must be hard to figure out where the lawn is versus the driveway. But if any of you are watching, if you deliver to my house, please try to stay on the driveway. Please don't go in the lawn and make ruts. Hey, I'm going to switch to members only a little bit early because we only have a quarter of the lesson left. Sorry, my nose is really itchy right now. I don't know why. It's not a pleasant feeling when you're trying to remain composed and do a live stream. But let's switch to members only chat. And let me kind of explain to everybody what that means. So for 10 minutes during every live lesson, we have members only chat time. If you are a member, you can ask a question directly in the chat. And if you're wondering what membership is, it's when you click the join button and you help support me in the work I do making English lessons on YouTube. What you get is you get a lesson plan on Monday, a few ideas of things you can do through the week. And I usually write a little bit about what I'm doing at the time and help teach you a little bit of English there. You get an extra lesson on Wednesdays, which is more of a vlog type lesson. I do them sometimes at home, sometimes in town. I did one at the airport once. That was a fun one. You also get to get your name in green in live streams. You get a crown by your name. And you get to participate in members only chat. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to help support the channel, there is a join button or a subscribe plus button, one of the two, somewhere around here. I strongly recommend you consider doing that. It's one of the things that allows me to work part-time and be home just a little bit more. Like I work about 70% of full time. So I go to work for about 3/4 of the day, 2/3 to 3/4. And then I can spend the rest of the time making YouTube videos because of you guys. So thank you if you are a member, and please consider being a member. It helps a lot. From Know That in the chat, hey Bob, what are your plans for today or the weekend? Do you have anything special on your to-do list? A heartfelt thank you. So yeah, I don't want to release I'm going to be mowing a lot of lawn. I'll tell you that much. And if you saw the members only video, there's an area of my property where I'm going to be building something, but I don't want to say what it is yet, but I'm going to start working on that tomorrow. I feel physically fit enough that I have a little project that I want to get started on. If you follow along with my life a bit, a couple years ago, I redid the front entrance way of our house. I put new pavers down and new stone. This is something quite a bit different, but still kind of a fun outdoor project. Mode says, have a sip, Mr. Bob, and please let us know if your blood test results are in. Oh, everything's good. Yeah. I have passed the threshold, which you could probably tell, where I just have a lot more energy. So there's a point where you are low energy and you get to, there's a certain threshold for your hemoglobin, if you want all the details, and I'm past that and things are good. I think a lot of you could tell last Friday already during the live stream. I'm talking too fast and making too many jokes. John Wedge, hey Bob, no question today, just listening and having fun here. Hey, folks, as always, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Yes, please do. It does help me, but only do it if you're enjoying the lesson. Know that. What subjects are you teaching today, and what are your students currently working on in class? Well, I'll tell you just one. One of my classes has started building their video games. That's really fun. So I'm excited about that. Currently, they're building a game where they have a little person and they have to get from one end of the screen to the other. And they have to build 3 different, I don't know what you would call them, obstacles. So like something where if you touch it, your player goes to the beginning, something that goes up and down, maybe a wheel that turns. So that's kind of fun. From Hafiaz, I know it's hard to tell to see where the driveway and lawn is. Bob was being sarcastic there. Yes. There's a common question Jen and I ask ourselves about delivery drivers. And the question is, do they have backup cameras? Because I don't think they do. And I think their boss or the place where they work should put them in. They should all be given a backup camera. I think that would be great. Mode. Oh, there's a backup cup in the background. I just noticed. It's getting a little crazy, Mode. There's like cups of water everywhere. It's becoming like that movie with, what movie was that? Signs? M. Night Shyamalan? Where the guy was putting cups of water, or the girl, somebody was putting cups of water everywhere. Maybe someone in the chat can say. Freddie, seeing animals in the zoo can seem quite sad for many people. Nevertheless, it's sometimes necessary to keep them in a safe place because they're about to disappear if forever in nature. Yes, I know that is true of a few species. Sai Sandy, I love going to the zoo, seeing lion, elephant, and zebra. However, life is busy, so most of the time I watch the Animal Channel to see them. That's a good way to see animals in the wild from the comfort of your home. Muladi says, hi, I've just joined. Well, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Or maybe you just joined the live stream. Maybe you already were a member. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. Are there any exotic animals in your farm? If yes, how do you feel when you see them? Thanks. No, there's nothing exotic here. We have goats and chickens. That's the livestock we have. There are, on the property, there are squirrels, many different kinds of birds, raccoons, rabbits, all the normal animals. Nothing exotic or fun. Regarding your class, did you do a scavenger hunt this past Monday? Yes, and it was 1 degree, but we still did it outside. And then yesterday it was beautiful. We should have done it yesterday. Yep. Which TV series do you usually watch every day? I have not been watching TV for a few weeks. I've been a little busy doing other things because it's light out outside till 8 o'clock at night right now. Not quite 8, but it's light out later. So like last night I mowed some lawn and those kinds of things. Bridget, this weekend here is a Cherry Blossom Festival. It starts with a concert this evening. I'm part of the orchestra. I'm playing the trumpet. Very cool. Couple little fixes in there. Orchestra and trumpet, but very cool. I hope it goes well, Bridget. That's awesome that you play a musical instrument. From Know That, besides the birdhouses, Bob, do you do anything else for the local wildlife around your farm? Not really. No, I'm just trying to think. Bird feeders, a little bit, although eventually we run out of bird feed and then we don't feed them anymore. But birdhouses would be one of the only things. From Mino Smill, hi, Mr. Bob. Does wild card have a second meaning, or is it just about card games? So if you say a person is a wild card, it means they don't always follow all the rules, maybe at a place of work or even in society. Like if you say, oh, my brother's a real wild card, don't invite him to the birthday party because you don't know what he'll do. M. Night Shyamalan, yes, that's the name. Know that. As long as you don't have to put cups everywhere because water is coming through the ceiling, Bob. No, there are no drips, but that is a word that's coming up, dripping. So that's the last word of the lesson. Kind of fun. Mode. Oh, the chat is getting super busy. I blame it on Unsel for gifting too many memberships. Haha, just kidding. There's no such thing as too many members, eh? No, there's not. The project I'm working on, I will show you, but it's nice to be able to work on things from memberships. Freddie, if you let out your goats, would they be able to do the job of your lawnmower? Sort of, but they might escape as well. We do let them in some areas, but not around the house. Oh, are there skunks? From Muladi. around your house. Yes, there are skunks in this area. I don't often see them. If you do see them, during the day, they're usually dangerous. They usually have a disease. Yes, Invincible and The Boys are trending shows right now. They're great if you're into superhero genre. So The Boys was a little too violent for me, and someone just recommended Invincible to me, so I should check it out. From Know That, I have a question related to pronunciation this time, Bob. Could you pronounce the words extraordinary, obituary, and opaque? Thanks in advance. So extraordinary is sometimes informally emphasized as extraordinary. Like he's an extraordinary hockey player. He is an extraordinary hockey player. So extraordinary, 90% of the time people will say that. But sometimes to be funny, people will say, this is an extraordinary cookie. The real word is extraordinary. And then obituary is, of course, after someone passes away, it's like a little write-up on the internet or in a newspaper talking about their life and the funeral arrangements. Sly Sandy says, happy to see the goats in Jen's video delivered. The small goats are so cute. They are cute, very much. Mode, whoa, you must have really good breath control to be able to play the trumpet. How long have you been playing? That must be a challenging instrument to play. Melody, I just found that Canadian accent for the word actual is actual. Well, I only know the way I say it. Actual. That's the actual way I say actual. Hafiez to Burgett. Oh, I bet you're a great trumpet player. Cherry Blossom Festival sounds beautiful. Yeah, I'm jealous. I think I would like to go to that. From John Wedge, I agree with you. I've enjoyed watching Jen's videos over the past 2 weeks. And then Burgett says to Mode, I've been playing the trumpet for nearly 50 years. That is impressive. Hey, I'm going to turn off members only chat, but I'm going to keep an eye on it and maybe answer a few more questions. I did want to explain. Last week, the live stream kept going after I finished. Normally, YouTube automatically stops it when I hit stop in my software, and it didn't. And I don't know if it does that anymore. So I'll need to make sure that I end the live stream when I end it. Okay, let me do a few questions from the forum. Hasham says, what's Canada's national animal? I think it's the beaver or the loon. I should know that, shouldn't I? From Alex, hello, Bob. Have you ever spent a whole night in nature in the winter? I remember doing it with my father once, and it was cold. I slept outside once in the winter when I was in university. And I went winter camping once, just about 15 years ago. It was very cold. You need a wood stove or some heating. Anders, hi, Bob. Could you explain what in the wild means figuratively? It simply means, not necessarily figure, like literally, it means seeing something outside of what you would normally, where you would normally expect to see that person or thing or animal or plant. So Hafia says, yeah, I noticed that the live stream was continuing on after it ended last week. Yes. And Know That says, thanks for answering my questions. Yeah, it just kept going. Miller says, I'm sorry, teacher. I thought you were going to teach us in the wild. Yeah, it is a bit of a deceptive title, isn't it? Maybe I should actually do a lesson in the wild. There, I just used actually again. Is wild always fierce? And I just heard Canadian actual sounds like actual. Is it French influence? C'est possible. Moi, je sais pas. It's possible. Okay, a couple more and we'll get back to the lesson. Oh, someone wants my opinion. Wooloo. Do you think zoos are beneficial and necessary, or should animals remain in their natural habitats in the wild? I don't know. Like, I know they're closing a lot of the, like, close to us, there was something called Marine Land, and they had whales and dolphins, and it wasn't healthy for the whales and dolphins. So I think it maybe depends on the type of animal. There, I'm going to give you a depends answer. Hasham, have you ever gone camping? Yes. I don't really enjoy it, but I have definitely gone camping in the past. So, Freddie said, at the end of your live, the chat keeps going for 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, yeah. The official animal of Canada is the beaver, which was officially recognized in March. Thanks, John, for looking that up. And just some chatting going on there. Okay, let me get a couple more questions. Prometheus, hi, Bob. Which single survival skill would make the biggest difference for someone lost in the wilderness? So I think in order of importance, you need shelter, you need heat, you need water. So I think shelter, and depending how cold it is, shelter, heat, and water would be the three things. You don't need heat though if it's warm out, but you do need shelter. Like you can't just live in the rain. I don't think that works. And then food is not actually that important for the first day or two, but it does become very important. Let's see here. From Iman, hi, Mr. Bob. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for a valuable English lesson. You are welcome. And let's go back actually to the lesson. Let's get this lesson finished. Let's see. Bob was being an old, forgetful man. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Okay. Fog. Almost every morning, there's fog right now. This is probably caused by the fact that it's cold overnight and the ground is warming up, or the inverse. It might be warm overnight and the ground is still cool related to the air temperature. Either way, I'm not a weatherman. There is a lot of fog in the morning, but it dissipates very quickly once the sun comes up. So fog, definitely something I have been seeing a lot of as I get up and go out on these beautiful spring days. By the way, fog is moisture in the air. It looks a lot like that. It looks exactly like that, actually. Geese. There are too many of these geese. I think I have another picture coming up. Yes. These geese are everywhere. They honk. In Canadian parks in the city, there's even geese. I don't know if I would call that in the wild because they're in the city. And sometimes geese will chase people, and geese can be very, very mean. Sometimes when we plant certain crops, the geese will eat the crop. And then I have to go out and I put up a little fence to stop the geese. But this year, Jen said I can just fly my drone and scare the geese off the soybean field. We'll see. But geese, this is actually what we call a Canada goose. Some people call them Canadian geese. We use different versions, but it's a pretty normal thing to see in this part of the world at this time of year. Robins. So interestingly enough, we do see robins. A robin is a North American bird that looks like this. It kind of has an orange chest, an orange or red chest. And you can usually see them out getting worms. Although I actually think they migrate through this area, but spend most of the summers further north. So we do see robins, but I want to say we see them in the spring and fall, but I'm not 100% sure. But we don't see them year round, that's for sure. Squirrels we see all the time, though. Whoa. Squirrels we see all the time, though. A squirrel is a small, furry animal like this. It's probably a rodent. It has a bushy tail. It gathers nuts throughout the year and stores them to eat in the winter. At least that's what they taught me when I was in school. I should double check some of these things because some of the things they taught me in school aren't true anymore. So chirping. So this is something I hear a lot at this time of year. I hear a lot of birds chirping, and it's a beautiful sound, especially first thing in the morning. If you go outside, you will hear birds chirping. Birds are in the trees. Birds are flying around. So a chirp, it's like, that's not a chirp. I can't make bird sounds this morning. But a chirp is a sound that a small bird makes. And you might be wondering, do geese make a sound? Yes, geese honk. So I hear a lot of honking at this time of year. You can honk your car, but geese also honk. I'm not going to try and make the sound. It's kind of a weird sound. But when you go outside, even this morning, if I went outside, there are geese across the river. You would hear them honking. So it's definitely something you hear at this time of year. And then dripping. So it rains a lot in the spring. When water falls, we call that dripping. So it might be as simple as like drip, 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 like very, very slow. Or it might be like this, where there's just a lot of water dripping from the eaves trough. That's what we call that. That little channel is called the eaves trough. So there's a lot of dripping. And I don't have cups everywhere because the ceiling is dripping. But when I was a kid in our old house, we had pans we would put out if it rained. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that. That's our old house leaked when I was a kid. That's it. Let's do some questions. No way. You said chirping and the word appeared on the screen. Impeccable timing. Know that. There you go. Nice work. Do you hear the frogs singing? Yes, they are pretty loud here, for sure. The goose is doing a great honk. Yes, it is. Okay, let me get back to the questions. I am only going to do the ones related to the lesson, or maybe I'll just do all of them. We'll see. From Trent, where do you think I should study casual English for real life conversations? Thank you so much. With someone who actually specializes in teaching that. So there's a link in the description below to a place called Preply. Great place to find a tutor. I'm sure you can find a tutor maybe in your local town, but having a conversation, a real life conversation, makes you better at having real life conversations. Student from your school, 2 snails. I'm not sure what the other thing is. Thank you, student from my school. Next one from Gata Helena. This spring, I noticed that apricot trees blossom before their new leaves grow up. Did you notice such behavior on any tree in Canada? Often the trees we have that blossom will blossom and then they will leaf out. So that's how we describe it. So first you'll have buds. The buds will open and there's a blossom, but there's other buds that open and become leaves. So they leaf out. From Betty. Happy Friday, Bob. Happy Friday to you too. Do you think humans are truly separate from the wild or still part of it in some way? We are still part of it. That's why people enjoy going on a hike. That's why people enjoy camping. Itchy Nose Bob, that's me. Have you ever gone camping? Do you like going camping? I have gone camping. I do not really like going camping. How much water do you drink during live lessons? Usually about a cup. It depends on the time of year and whether I have a little bit of a sore throat or not. From Muladi, are there skunks around your home? Yes. And have they broken into your house? No. That would be scary. I would not enjoy that. Unabi, simple question, Bob. Do you like peacocks? I find their tails look wonderful and gracious. One of the most beautiful things in the wild nature. I don't like large birds. They kind of scare me. So up to about, I don't mind ducks, but geese scare me a little bit. Peacocks scare me a little bit. Any turkeys, they kind of like small duck size or smaller birds, totally fine with. Anything bigger, don't really like it. Let's see. Alex from Yucatán. Hey, Bob, do you also have teepees in your part of Canada? They are a kind of homes used by Indigenous people. Also, do you have raccoons? I have seen them, but it's not a regular occurrence to see a teepee anywhere. But yes, there are sometimes festivals, and Indigenous people will set some up. From Fatih, do you think watching nature animal documentaries is an efficient way to improving English? Yes, absolutely. Documentaries are very helpful because they usually explain things slowly and in great detail. So not just animal documentaries, like any kind of documentary, I think is good. This is from Dot. Hi, Bob, the Canadian here. Let's learn English at the, well, I'm not going to tell you the next one. Not this week, but the week after, there'll be a cool one. From M. Usman, what are some series that can be watched to practice English listening and speaking? So there are a number of approaches to this. I usually recommend that you watch TV instead of movies to learn English, because with TV, you can get to know the characters and their particular way of talking. I used to recommend a show like Friends, but I think it's gotten too old now. There's more modern words and phrases, and like just something as simple as daily life with a cell phone is common now, but not on a show like that. So I can't recommend a show right now other than Survivor is on, and that's a great show to see and hear regular English. Wild of wild and wild. How do you say wild? I always mispronounce it. I say wild. 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 There you go. Let's see here. There's just a whole lot of spam in the chat. Here we go. From Moat. Not in the chat, sorry, in the question queue. No question, Bob. Just one midnight, one hungry walk, and one raccoon loudly owning a Tim Hortons jelly donut. First time I envied a raccoon. Yes, there are definitely raccoons that live in the city and benefit. From Hasham, hi Bob, sir. Is a beaver and a squirrel the same? No. A beaver is bigger and has a large flat tail and lives by the water. A squirrel is smaller, has a bushy tail, and lives in trees. And here we don't have spring. We directly have 34 degrees Celsius scorching weather. That's hot. Hi, Bob. Do you think a strong accent can be difficult to understand? Oh, did I put that on the screen? From Caddy. Hi, Bob. Do you think a strong accent can be difficult to understand? Yes, but humans are very adaptable. I once worked with someone who had a strong accent, and within a week, I could understand them no problem. I think our brains adjust for situations like that. From Hashem, why you don't like camping? Any horrible experience? I like comfort. So I like warmth in this winter. I like heat, or sorry, I like warmth in the winter, and I like an air-conditioned house in the summer. So I don't mind going outside, but I'm definitely not a camper. That wasn't me. That was a copycat. Yes, I thought so from Mode. Let's see here. Hoot Toot says, I received a membership. Thank you. You're welcome. Hey, that's it. The questions are done. The lesson's done. I did say it was going to be a bit shorter today, which is fine because I got some water drinking to do. I'm pretty busy drinking water here. I'm on cup number 2 now. But thank you so much for watching. A few things before you go. Number 1, I will remember to turn the live stream off. Number 2, this lesson I will edit into a shorter one. It'll probably only be 19 or 20 minutes, where I will remove all of the questions, and it will be a straight lesson from start to end, from the phrase in the wild to honking. I think there's 25 or so, maybe 23 slides in this short lesson. So do rewatch it. Rewatching something is very good for retention, your ability to remember it. It will help you understand more because you can turn subtitles on if you need to. But it's just a good habit to get into, not just for my channel. You can do this with everything. You should even read books twice if you want to remember more of the English you are learning. But that will come out. This video will come out in a shorter version in a day and a half, 2 days. You should rewatch it. So, and you should have a good weekend. You should enjoy yourself. You should do something fun. And I'm going to read the chat a bit, and then I'm going to sign off. Let's see. No, that says, all your lessons are good, Bob. There's always something to learn. Yes. Bob is not a happy camper, says Happy is. I never get this saying. Yeah, not a happy camper. That's the literal phrase. Dieppe says, what do you think about practicing casual English through the Ellen show? That's fine. You know, it's not so much the show. It's whether you are committed to watching it and making sure you're actually learning instead of just being entertained. Unabi says, thanks a lot. No problem. Know that. Thank you so much for your time, Bob. I wish you and your family a lovely Friday and a wonderful weekend. Take good care of yourself, and all the best to Jen and the kids. Thanks, Know that. I hope you have a good weekend too. Bridget says, thank you, Bob. Wish you and Jen a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Gata Helena, I never could understand these camping rest. This is not a rest for me at all. No. Mode says, thanks, Mr. Bob. Whoa, this went too fast. Thanks, Mr. Bob. That's great news because I'm busy and I need to go. No problem. Who gave me the membership? Thank you. You're welcome. Mode says, have a good weekend, everyone. Bye, Teacher Bob. Thanks a lot, says Wanda. Thank you so much. No problem. No problem. I'm going to go. John Wedge says, thank you. Everybody's saying thank you and goodbye. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. See you next Tuesday with a new lesson. Next Friday with a live lesson. I'm going to play the outro music now, and I'm going to finish drinking my water and go to the hardware store. That's my plan on the way to work. Bye.